Welcome to the viewers of Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation and Musical Soul of India. In the series of our shows and concerts, today we are here with an eminent personality once again, Tabla Maestro, Shri Tanmoy Bose. Tanmoy Bose da, बहुत namaskar. Hope you are fine.
I'm doing fine, thank you.
We would like to ask some of the questions regarding Panditji and your memories with Panditji. Firstly, the people and the viewers also want to know from the maestro about the early memories of yours with Panditji.
Thank you, Navarunji, for having me in your show. Actually, I don't even know where to start when I am asked to talk about Raviji. He has been one of the greatest influences in my life. And the first, of course, when we were growing up, numerous times I have experienced Panditji performing in Dubalin, in Sadarang, in Sabram, so many other conferences all over Calcutta, out of Calcutta. I used to go with my mother. The first time when I came to in close proximity to Panditji was in the Dubalin music competition where I stood first and Raviji was giving away the prizes. So that's the first time I actually saw him closely, like I was standing next to him. And of course, after that, I have gone to him a couple of times with Deepak whenever Ravi used to come in Lala Sridharji's house. And then, of course, in his house in London, in Osborne Road, with Deepak. And later on the 90s, early 90s, me and Tejendra, we were touring America. And then both of us were in San Diego, and then Raviji wanted Tejendra and me to go to his place in Encinitas. So that's when I actually played with Tejendra in front of Raviji. And that was a moment that I'll never forget. And it's an awestruck moment for me, like experiencing sitting next to Raviji and looking at him. I will never forget that in my life.
Acha, listening to him and his concerts while you were growing up, how you felt about his concerts in the early times while you were growing up with him or listening to him?
Numerous times. I remember his concert with Abbaji. I remember his concert with Zakirji. I remember his concerts with Shapunda. I remember his concert with my Guruji, Pt. Shankar Guruji, in Sadarang. That Miyaki Malhar in Dhamar, amazing, because the Calcutta was flooded that day and Raviji was performing, so we all went. I went with my mother with great difficulty. It was happening, the concert was happening in Kalamandir and I stay in Baliganj. Even though it is not far, but the roads were waterlogged. But that Miyaki Malhar in Dhamar with Raviji and Guruji was amazing concert. And then, of course, with Kumarda, I remember in Ananda Cinema Hall in Baranagar, that was Kumarda's first concert with Raviji. Amazing. I mean, hundreds of concerts while I was growing up, I had been listening, and of course, recordings of my first Guruji, Pandit Kanai Datta, that my father gifted me with LP, long playing record, with Raviji, with my first Guruji, Pandit Kanai Datta. So I have grown up with his music, and of course, my close relationship with Deepak. From a very young age, I used to go to Deepak to practice. So I knew stories about Raviji. I knew his music very well because Deepak would sometimes play with him. Then my Guruji is very good friend, and I also knew him very well. The great Pandit Indranil Bhattacharya, the concerts that he would play with Raviji sometimes. I had the good luck of experiencing. Then with Kartik Kaka, couple of concerts. Kartik Kaka played with Yakamashai. So I had experienced like hundreds of concerts of Raviji, really.
Tell me about your first concert and your expressions, which were feelings coming in your mind to play, accompany with the maestro to the legend, with the legend for the first time when you did your first concert with him,
I
and
mean,
where?
whoever is a classical musician, everyone, I think, realize the fact that his contribution will always be remembered for hundreds of years, for generations to come. The first time when I got the chance to play with him, that was in 98. So I think 97 or 98, 97, I think, end of 97. It was the day of, I think, Saraswati Puja. So Raviji called in the landline from California. So my mother picked up the phone and she thought some friends were making fun of me because Raviji said, "This is Ravi Shankar from California. Can I talk to them?" So my mother disconnected the line, thinking that she could not even think that Raviji would call my home. And then again Raviji called, and then Ma asked me to pick up the phone, and I took the phone, and that was Raviji at the other end, and said he would play with me, and my hand was shaking. I was so nervous, and I could
Oh,
not speak. I said, I have grown up listening to your music, and you are like God. Tanmay
yeah.
dhayanne bikram dhayanne bose gos tha. Tanmay dhayanne bikram dhayanne bose gos tha. Tanmay dhayanne bikram dhayanne bose gos tha. So he said, now fill it up with tabla syllable. And things like that. Daga dinne, daga dinne, daga tane, dhane, da, daga dinne, daga dinne, daga dinne, daga da, daga dinne, So now when you fill it up with tabla syllable, that becomes a beautiful dehai. Like for example, I remember he told me, Ravi Shankar, Sukanna Shankar, Anushka Noradha, Ravi Shankar, Sukanna Shankar, Anushka Noradha, Ravi Shankar, Sukanna Shankar, Anushka Noradha. Things like that. That was, these are the moments that I'll never forget in life. And, I think I was very lucky to have gone to him and learned so much from him, and interesting thing once he told he was practicing Tishra Jati Rupak, and he said, we are supposed to play 10 and a half beats, so 2 times 10 and a half would become 21, 10 and a half, 10 and a half, and 7 into 3 is 21. So the Gat was in Tishra Jati Rupak, but the Theka would be in Barabar Sare Das Matra.
Okay.
Beautiful thing, and it was such a difficult thing before, but the moment he explained, he taught us that this is how you should approach. It was clear. Then you learned that, like din terakata din dage tun na katta dinna dinna din terakata din dage tu na. So one cycle of 3 Tishra Jati Rupak, 2 cycles of 10 and a half will come to Sa. So Raviji's Gat was in Tishra Jati Rupak, and we were playing 10 and a half Theka. So din terakata din dage tu na katta dinna dinna din 1 2 din 1 2 na 1 2 din 1 2 na 1 2 din 1 2 na 1 2 din. You see, it's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
his thought process, how he conceived and how he approached music, and in spite of everything, his human quality. And both Chinnama and Raviji, uh, I was lucky. I feel so blessed that I have stayed with them in their house, and I have experienced things that since I used to love food, then I have reduced that now. So Raviji once told me, asked Chinnama to take me to a Thai market. It's a fish market. So me, Raviji, and Chinnama went to the fish market. It's amazing, So he told me, now choose which fishes you want. So it's amazing because such the human quality that I saw in the great man, in spite of being the legend. I mean, whichever part of the world I have gone, I have seen what kind of fan following he had. You know, I cannot even imagine. Places like in Morocco, places like in Lebanon, in places like in America and England and Europe, is normal. But in places like this, in Japan, people were crying, people were shouting just to have a glimpse of Ravi.
Now you played with him, you accompanied him in many concerts.
Yes.
I, as you were telling in your talk, but kindly tell the viewers one of the most memorable concert which you ever had with him, and you felt that now this is something which personally as an accomplished as a tabla maestro also you achieved something at that moment from the audience. Is there
First
any
of all,
instance?
when we are discussing about Raviji,
Hmm.
I think I by no means am a maestro. I had been a student. I have learned so many things from him, and I feel blessed that I was with him. I mean, all his concerts where he will always tell us that the show must go on. Whenever he's on stage, he will give 100%, and
Yeah.
every concert was a success story. But the last concert, I will never forget what a kind of great musicianship and attitude he had. He was not well, and he had an oxygen pipe with him, nurses, the doctors, and he came on a chair. He sat on stage with the oxygen pipe on, and he played for 1.5 hours. That was Long Beach, California. That was his last concert that I played with him in, I think, November 4th. I don't remember the exact date, but soon after that, he was hospitalized. But I can tell you that that concert, I couldn't believe that a person who is not physically stable would still play for 1.5 hours. And if you ever listen to that recording, you will see unbelievable. At that age, he would still play at that vigor and virtuosity. He was unbelievable as a, you know him also very well. So I don't need to clarify on that. But all I can say is his human quality, his humility, plus his vidya, and he is always ready to impart his knowledge to anyone who is willing to take. You know, so and I was very lucky in a way that he loved giving adda with me, because I will talk to him, talking about films, about theater, about new book releases. Sometimes I will take some pujo release of publications from Calcutta, the DVDs, Bengali movies. I will take with him, with me, and then we will watch. And you know, great time. And every day was a new day, because not many people know that he spoke French fluently, and he always read literature, and he would listen to so many kind of music, and he knew in any corner of the world whoever is a good musician, young musician, he will keep an eye and would like to listen to him. These are the things that uh, generations to come should know, that that's the attitude of a great master, that he will encourage and he will like to know more about some musician, whoever is good, you know. So, like, he was always uh, with something going on in his mind. He was not sitting idle any point of time. And if he was resting, he was taking a nap. So his fingers will go on in the leg. And if he was sitting on a chair or talking to people, his hand will always do this with the leg. So it constantly is talking to us, but he is doing this constantly with the finger, you know. So the more I think of Raviji, I miss him a lot. And Chinama, I don't know where to start, because I hear so many things about Chinama. So many things have they have so many things to say about Chinama. But I can tell you that what Chinama has done for Raviji, she has been the greatest support in Raviji's life. Otherwise, Raviji would not have been able to play for this long.
Yeah, of course.
Middle of the night, we will have film shows after dinner every night in California. Some new film we will watch, and the film show will be over 2 o'clock in the morning in the night. Then Raviji will say, ask Chinama that he feels like having payesh. And
Mhm.
Chinama will never say no. She will make payesh for Raviji. And then suddenly in the afternoon, Raviji will say, oh, I want shukto. Chinama will make shukto. So, I find them both like the perfect jodi.
Yeah.
And
Nah,
how much appreciation he had for whatever Chinama did for him. He would always say thank you. And he
yeah, yeah.
told me, oh, how much she does for me, how much she cares about me. And he was always so thankful that whatever she did for him, but Chinama will always was ready to serve him. So I
Yeah.
was lucky to have seen all of that and stay with them.
Nay, of course, Tanmay, Sukanya Mami talks much about the disciples and, of course, about you. And she loves you also, that I can say from the bottom of our heart. And today, also, this the episode which are going on this live on Facebook with Pt.Ravi Shankar Music Foundation. Of course, it is due to Sukanya Mami is there behind us as our guardian. She's always there, and she will be there. And of course Gaurav Davi is also there. The other aspect is that you accompanied with a legend, Pandit Ravi Shankar, who was himself was an encyclopedia. Then you accompanied with the legacy who's carrying out in the world, Anushka. So how you feel playing with Anushka also, you are there with Anushka in many concerts. I have seen some of the records also. So how you feel that the transformation of that music from Pandit Ravi Shankar to Anushka?
I
What is your
mean,
experience in that?
I think Anushka has the uh, potential of a genius, only because she is one person that I have seen is a Shrutidhar.
Yeah.
Once she listens to something, she won't forget. And she is one musician who could read Raviji's mind. On stage, whenever she will look to Raviji, she knew what Raviji wanted from her. you know, and plus her stage presence, her finesse, her left hand. I think one of the best Surela left hand, amazing left hand, and the right hand, Tayari, Dirdiri. And, she's a naturally gifted artist. If a person needs to practice for 10 hours, you know, but she is naturally gifted. Her hands are, naturally flexible. The speed she will attend. You listen to the recordings, she will go with the dirdiri and tan and all with the high precision. Her lay, sense of lay. I have played from her first concerts, numerous concerts I have played with her. I think she is one of the best representative Raviji music could have. Definitely.
Tanmay, when you last met the legend, when you last met the legend,
I
so
I
how,
I went to the hospital, and then I started, mimicking, and Raviji was laughing, and the nurse had to come in and say, "He don't make him laugh so much." Chinama, Shekhar Bhai in San Diego, they were in the room. So I went, I reached San Diego, then I straight away went to the hospital to meet Raviji, and then I was mimicking things, and I was showing some things. I was telling him some jokes, and he was so happy. And if all of us we were laughing, and the nurse had to come and request not to do that because that would, uh, you know, not be good for Raviji. So we stopped.
and
That
the
is,
day you got the news, the fateful news, what was your reaction when you
I
got that
mean,
fateful news?
it's as if the sky came down to hit my head. I couldn't believe that, and every time it's so ironical that every time Ravji would tell me uh, in Bengali, যে, "কি জানি আবার দেখা হবে কিনা তোমার সাথে?" Whenever I will come back, he will always tell me, "কি জানি আবার তোমার সাথে দেখা হবে কিনা?" And every time I will tell him that, "Oh, don't tell that to me, Raviji, because I know that you are going to be fine and I'm going to see you soon." And that happened all the time. But this time, and the worst thing that happened to me, that I did not have a visa. So there was no time for me to apply for a visa and to go and be with Chinama Anushka in San Diego. So that's the one regret I have, that I could not go there and see him for the last time. But I felt, for a couple of months, I was shattered totally, because it is not that just he was a great artist to play with. He was such a great human being. And when I stayed in their house in San Diego, I must tell you that Chinama and Raviji, they treat you like a part of their family. So you never feel that you are away from home. Chinama will every day cook. Even they had a cook, but Chinama used to cook for me every day since I loved fish, and with a lot of chili and powder like Bengali style cooking. You know, and Raviji will enjoy seeing me eat and appreciate the cooking. So as long as I live, it is impossible for me to not remember him every day, because I miss him. I miss that setup. I miss him a lot.
And Tanmeda, tell me about your experiences, about his contribution, Panditji's contribution towards music to the world, and especially in tabla.
I
Your
mean, you see, I am no one to kind of give my opinion about his contribution. The whole world knows, and there are great masters
yeah.
and great knowledgeable people all around in the music world who already knows about his contribution. But I am sure that everyone will agree with me that he was instrumental in bringing forward the importance of tabla on stage. He made the tabla player play solo sections, and that gave the focus, bring the focus towards the tabla player. So, person playing with him was not just accompanying him on stage, sitting and doing whenever he wants them to play, but he will leave a section for that tabla player to excel. And great masters, all our gurus, my gurus, Abbaji, all these great legends, they have played solos with him. Till us, we also got the opportunity to play solos when we were playing with him.
Yes.
And the appreciation, the way he gave tala, the way he will encourage us, and the way he will look at the audience, making them aware that see how good things are happening. you know So that I think is the one of the biggest contribution, and plus his ideology about lay, how to address a lay, a tala. And as I told you, Tishra Jati, Rupa, and 10.5. These are unique thought processes. And then the scanning of the high, the lay implication of a tan, how he will do the divisions in a tan, you know, and then coming up, he would tell me Ahmad, like you come up, you play, and then suddenly you come up with a tihai. You know, so you have to be in a cycle of the lay or with the tala, then only you can do that. You know, so it's amazing. I think his greatest contribution, his being a musician, that he contributed. He changed the face of Tantrakari. You know, like the alap in a cycle, like a Drupad, you know, in a perfect cycle of 4. You know, his alap in stages, and then he goes on to the Bilambit. And then, you know, in Bilambit, he told me that use less syllable because the Bilambit is the exposition of the raga. So if I'm not exposing the whole raga, you should not also expose it. So basically, you can just play the theka sweetly and then ornament. So I'm playing the theka and he's ornamenting. So these are the things I remember, and I think that's his contribution. That how he designed the performance, and the North Indian music has benefited out of it, I think.
Last, Tanmay, the viewers also want to listen from your tabla something, and me especially also, something you can give to the viewers from your instrument tabla.
I mean, what can I play? I'll play a Tishra Jati Vela.
Sound is not audible. Sound.
It's not coming.
Sound is not coming, Dada.
Oh, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's okay, Dada. It's not coming.
Oh, because the microphone is here.
Okay.
So that's why, you know. So what can I do?
Okay.
I'll just recite a composition and play.
Okay, Dada.
Just
Okay,
a tukra.
Okay. So nice of you, Tanmay.
Thank you for having me.
Here to hear you with the Pandit Ravi Shankar Music Foundation. Give blessings to Aryan Chatterjee, also my son,
Aryan.
And we will meet in Kolkata very soon. Thank you, Tanmay, once again.
Thank you, and long live Raviji.
Thank you. Pranam.
Thank you. Namaskar.